Hello everyone, especially my homeschool parents. Today this video is for you because this is another teachable moment, and we're going to talk about some things we can do at our family reunion. We know that summertime is the time in which most of us spend with family. We have family get-togethers, family reunion. So let's talk about some educational things that you can do at your family reunion. If you don't know who you are, I'm LaWanda Shields, and this is my space for fellow teachers, homeschool moms, and or homeschool dads. And today, as I said, my focus is on you, my homeschool parents. So let's get right into this video. When we talk about having family reunions, one of the first things we want to talk about is genetics. How do our genes impact the person that we are? How do they impact our looks? So you might want to have a quick genetic lesson with your kids, because you know grandma and grandpa are all at the family reunion, so are our cousins, and we might want to talk about how family traits are passed down. I'll give you a good example. My oldest son, we went to visit his family there in Louisiana, and so I had never really met his dad's family, not all of them, and they all showed up at one spot at one time, and I was like, oh my goodness, I thought my son favored me. He does some, but I promise you he looks just like his daddy's family. They all have such similar features. I was just amazed at how much that same feature was passed down from one generation to the next and across those cousins. They all have the same little nose. It's real weird, but I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to offend anybody. They have a cute little nose, and it's just funny. I was like, son, all of you look alike. But it's amazing how genes do that. So that may be something you want to do at your family reunion. You may also want to create a family tree where you show each of the family members. Now, what I was doing with my kids was I started the family tree, and it's just amazing how we lose so much history. I enjoyed it. You'll enjoy it. It's something fun to do. And with all your family members together, where as many of them as show up at the family reunion, this is a great time to be working on the family tree. Another thing that you can do, you can create those family slideshows. And while you're doing the slideshow, you may want to go ahead and explain how your relatives are all related. And you might want to also take that time to look at these traits that everybody have that are in the family. You may also want to do recipes. Now, recipes is one of my favorite things to do and talk about. So during the family reunion, the recipes are a great time to share, like your family's oral history. So that's a history lesson. If you're doing the oral history, you might want to do some comparison, contrast, which will fall into doing that slideshow. And while you're doing the recipes, you can talk about where the recipes originated, why they're important to your family. You can also get into that math, because you can talk about the number of cups, the percentage of what you're putting into the food. All those are great ways to incorporate recipes during the family reunion into your homeschool lesson. You may also want to consider having your child write about the recipe. Write what's their favorite family meal. Why is it their favorite? Talk about the relatives. Like I said, you can get into the comparison, contrast. All of these are things you can do at your family reunion that you might enjoy doing. Something else that you might want to do, create a time capsule. In your time capsule with your kids, you can take this as far as you want. You can be as creative as you want or not as creative as you want. You can put in some things that you want someone years later to discover about your time. I tell you, with my sons, their little baby books, there's a section in there that talks about when they were born, and you talk about what was the popular song, what was the favorite television show, how much the gas cost, who was the president. All these some things that we added to the baby book, but that could be some things that you might want to include in your time capsule that you do with your children. I don't know if you want to put physical items in there or not. That's up to you. But you can put a sheet of paper in there that contain these, and you will make sure that you will add some things that hold meaning to you and your family into the time capsule. Another thing that you want to do, I don't know if your family does quilts or have certain items that they pass down, like family heirlooms or not. Quilting is a big thing with my family, so it's been passed down from my great-grandma to my grandma to us. My mom did a little quilting. Me and my sister both quilt. I have boys, so unfortunately for me, I don't think, now they may surprise me and they may get into quilting, but I don't think they are at the moment. So a family quilt is something that you might want to talk about. You might want to go ahead and work on together. Great idea. If you can get everyone to sit down and do it. You could go, again, that goes back into that oral history, and you could discuss other family traditions that you and your family may have. These are great things to do at the family reunion. If you're doing sports events, you might want to do something similar to like the Olympics with their family. You're doing like the sack races and all those other events of volleyball, depending on where you're having your family reunion at. You can get into talking about the history of the Olympics. You can get into talking about all these other physical traits or things that are important or that are just characteristics of you and your family. Okay? And if you're taking trips, like if y'all decide to go visit the aquarium, or you decide to go visit the planetarium, or you decide to plant a flower, or you want to go look at a tree, or you want to do some gardening while your family members are here, you can use all of these activities in which to teach your kids during the family reunion. If you're doing the gardening, you might want to, again, that'll get you into the comparison, contrast about the various plants or the various types of food, fruits. What's the difference in a fruit? What's the difference in a vegetable? My grandmother and them did gardening. They did a lot of gardening. We did a lot of planting too, baby. It was rough. But, you know, when I was growing up, I thought it was terrible. But now I see the importance of it. We used to make preserves, and we used to do all this stuff. We really lived off of the land. And so if you're doing some activities with your child, you might want to talk about that. You might want to teach them all of these things. These are also important lessons that they can learn. We made straw hats. We made hats out of straw. We made brooms out of straw. All these wonderful things that we did when I was growing up. And I'm calling them wonderful now. At the time we did them, I thought they were absolutely horrible. Thought it was horrible. But, of course, like I said, I was young. I was a child. So, you know, you learn better the older you get. But, said all that to say, these are some things that you can do with your child at the family reunion to make sure that they are learning, to turn it into a teachable moment. You can have teachable moments at your family reunion. So thank you guys for listening, my homeschool moms and my homeschool dads, or just my parents in general. And if you are a teacher and you are doing summer school, this is also something that you might want to think about doing with your students. Take every opportunity to teach that you can. So again, this is LaWanda Shields of 2 Cute Classrooms. I thank you guys for listening. I'll see you in the next video.